Good afternoon, class. Chapter 3.3, Solving Multi-Step Equations. So we've seen one-step equations. When you take the inverse operation, you automatically get the variable by itself. So in this video now, you're going to have to do two steps to isolate that variable on its own. And remember, we want to isolate the variable so that it is positive as well. So there is a coefficient in front of the variable of a positive 1. So the rules: simplify one or both sides of the equation if needed. Combine like terms. Okay, so first step here, on solve and simplify this side and this side if needed. Combine like terms before you start taking the inverse operation to the other side. Okay? Use the inverse operations to isolate the variable. Reverse order of PEMDAS. Really, it only accounts for this, which you'll see in a second. It doesn't account for this. Okay, you have to do this first if it exists there still, okay, before you can do the multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. So really, realistically, to get the inverse operation, to isolate the variable in this, you're really doing you're doing the opposite, okay, of PEMDAS, the last four parts of it. All right, which you'll see. Okay, we don't obviously have a word for this. This doesn't really make a word, so can't really call it PEMDAS. Or please excuse my dear Ed Saleh, if you want to create something for this, feel free to help you memorize it. But here we go. So we have 1/3 x plus 6 equals -8. So remember, step one is to look at both sides of the equation and see if we can simplify anything. Can we combine like terms? Well, this is just -8, so that's done. And 1/3 x plus 6. Well, we cannot combine these two things together. Remember, we could multiply them, but you cannot add or subtract them. So both sides, okay, are checked out. So let's start solving this. So the opposite of PEMDAS, okay, we have to subtract 6 first. Subtract 6 first. So 1/3 x equals -14. Multiply by 3 over 1. The reciprocal, 3 over 1. So x equals -52. So if we plug this back in, because remember you have to check your work, so really it's saying 1/3 times -52 over 1, and 3 goes into -52. We know a total of -14 times plus 6, which equals -8. So that checks out. So again, let's go over this. Step one, okay, simplify both sides. Well, we didn't have to do anything on this problem. So we move to step two. We take the inverse operations going backwards on PEMDAS and this main part. So is there adding or subtracting to help isolate the variable? Well, we can subtract the 6, so we subtracted the 6. And then to get rid of the fraction, remember we have to take the reciprocal of that fraction, multiply it on both sides. So we multiplied the division part. So 7x minus 3x minus 8 equals 24. Okay, simplify each side. Well, this one's just 24. So we don't have to simplify anything on this side. But on this side, look right here, we have like terms here. So 7x minus 3x, 4x minus 8 equals 24. Okay, inverse operation, working backwards of PEMDAS, add 8. 4x equals 32. Divide by 4. X equals 8. Okay, now you have to plug this back in to the original equation to make sure you got the right answer. Okay, and it's very important. That's why today I said you have to plug it back in. I don't understand why you would not want to plug it back in. Okay. So 56 minus 24 is 32. 32 minus 8 is 24. Checks out on both sides. Okay. Double check that it makes sense. Okay, now we have these parentheses. And remember, when we're solving these problems, okay, we're working backwards from here, but these stay the same. So if we have parentheses, we have to solve it. If we don't have parentheses and we have something we need to distribute, we need to distribute that first. So we have 5x plus 3x plus 12 equals 28. Now we go back to step 1, combine like terms. Minus 12, 8x equals 16, divided by 8, x equals 2. Okay, so plug the 2 back in. We know that 5 times 2 is 10. 2, plug a 2 in here. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 10 plus 18 is 28 equals 28. So that checks out. Okay, plug the information back in to double check your work. All right, here we go again. Now, very important here, you see this negative in front of the subtraction sign in front of that 3. Remember, it is connected to that 3. So when you're distributing into this parentheses, you're taking the negative. So that's why it's very important that you read the problem to yourself while you're solving it. So 4x, negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times a negative 2 is a positive 6 equals 21. Combine like terms, you just get x plus 6 equals 21. Take the inverse operation, subtract 6, x equals 15. Plug it back in now. 15 times 4, which is 60. And we know we plug 15 in. 15 minus 2 is 13. 13 times 3, 39. 60 minus 39 is 21. So 21 does equal 21. So it checks out here. Okay, so very important that you distribute the number first and you take the sign to go with it. Okay, really read the problem to you. Or to yourself, sorry. So we have this problem. I'm going to rewrite this because I didn't give myself enough space. So we have this fraction in front of the distribution. Usually if this was just a whole number, okay, we could distribute that in there. Okay, but since it's a fraction, we're going to get rid of it first. So we're going to take the reciprocal of that. Okay, we can cross reduce here. We get negative 55 equals x plus 3. Subtract 3, x equals negative 58. So let's go back to the original problem. Negative 58 plus 3 is a negative 55. You times that by negative 6 over 5. Okay, reduce here. Negative 6 times negative 11, which is a positive 66. So we know 66 equals 66. Okay, so everything checks out. So it's very important, go through each step. Okay, really pay attention to the signs that are with the problem. Okay, and then plug your answer back into the equation. So here's your homework problems. There's 4 of them. So, if you have any questions, please let me know. Remember, PEMDAS, Remember, you're working backwards when you're trying to isolate the variable when there's more than one step. Okay? We want a positive 1 coefficient. Okay, so think about how you can get that. Okay. If you have any questions, please email me. I will not see you tomorrow. I will see you on Wednesday. Okay? I know, Cole, I told you I'd be around 8 minutes, but I'm going to about 10 and a half for you. So I hope you have a wonderful night. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care.